listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
7:30, right? All right, folks, this is Thunder Thursday. Here we are, and there you are, and here
Tony
you are.
Marmo.
I'm Tony Marmo.
I know. I'm Val Dwyer.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
I like your outfit today. It's
Thanks.
kind of stylish and practical.
Thanks.
Right? I mean, although it's 70. Right, exactly. But 75 degrees out.
I'm a
you got the long
fashionista.
You are a fashionista. You know, I got my.
Yeah, it's that in between weather. You never know what you're going to
Yeah.
get, if it's going to be 80 or it's going to be 60. And good time of year, but
It's a great time of year.
unpredictable.
September is my favorite month, I have to say, because you get cooler weather. At night it's nice. The humidity usually drops. I mean, you still get some warm days, and but maybe a little crazy rain situation, right? Every
Tonight
once
is
in a while,
going to be
yeah.
a crazy rain situation.
So, yeah. So, but how's everything? Good. Everything's kind of sort of good in the world. Busy,
Everything
crazy.
crazy.
Right. No, I know it's very fast.
I think we all kind of fell into this COVID nothing mode, and now it's
Now
kind
it's
of
like
back to
spinning.
back to real life,
Pretty
and
fast.
it's like, how did I do all of that at one point?
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it's just been it's a blur, right? Kind of sort of a blur.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's like, so we'll see. I'll see if things keep moving forward. We know the pandemic issue's still out there.
I know my kids some quarantines at school lately, and so it's still kind of lingering around. But
Leanne started a job at not Pine Street, Caremount Pediatrics over in Lake Katrine.
That's where
she's a
my
nurse.
kids go.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
So she's there, but it's off the hook crazy there because kids are being sent home for little sniffles, and they go to school, and if something is just slightly off, see you later, alligator.
see you later.
And getting COVID tests are impossible. The wait is gigantic. I heard the home tests are scarce to find. So
It's funny you
still
say that, because I saw that somewhere on social media that testing was hard to get, and my son, I don't know, maybe a month ago, had strep throat, and he had no problem getting one. Now maybe it's changed a lot.
I think it's changed in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
It has,
Yeah.
a lot, especially with school back in. I think that's been a factor. And the Delta variant has kind of, there's more positive cases in Ulster County, right? Last I looked, it was around 600, but it could be leveling. I don't think it got to 800 or 900. So I think, fortunately, it's kind of leveled a little bit and maybe starting to drop. But
I also wonder if it has to do with, I know New York State has a law, and I haven't really been able to ask my husband if it's been, I'm assuming it's been enforced, but
right.
So all the teachers, if you are not vaccinated, you have to get tested once a week. So I feel like and then also with the county, they said you had to do the same thing. Now I think it's by the end of September. I think maybe you have to be vaccinated. But I think there's this whole influx of people recently that maybe don't have symptoms but have to be tested because of work reasons. So that's kind of taken away a lot of those tests, and maybe that's why we're seeing that. Supply go down.
Yeah, that could be very, very much, and I don't get that, because if it's a rapid test, then you do get the test back results pretty quickly. But if it's the longer one, the PCR, then sometimes it's 4 days. So if you get a test weekly, what do? You wait out until I know. It's just.
And I also heard
so impractical.
I know Hurley Ave, they won't do a rapid test if you have no symptoms,
right?
Because they say that they're not as effective if you have no symptoms. So if you are sending all of these teachers, it's kind of, is it really even accurate information?
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, it's just.
I think I've come to the conclusion. It's funny because I feel like, and I said this on our last show on September 11th, when we were a country that was so united, and it's like right now we're so divided, and everybody is so divided on vaccinated, not vaccinated, and I've come to the realization that everybody's fighting over this, but I truly believe nobody really knows anything.
I know.
And that's okay.
Right.
It's all uncharted territory.
Yeah.
We've never been through this before, but we're kind of learning as we go, and everybody's reading one side of it and taking a side and fighting with the other. And I never realized I had that many doctors on my news feed.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Scientists.
Oh yeah,
they know it all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And someone gets an article from Timbuktu and says,
.com.
Here it is. And so, it's crazy. But, look, I still maintain that there's a lot of good still being done all over the place. There's a lot of these, I call them random acts of kindness. There are still a lot of divides. There are still a lot of crazy drivers on the road that are taking out
their rage
on the roads. But and it's never talked about because the media never talks about it.
Kindness.
The kindness. They never did it before. But even now, when the world is divided, they either sell more newspapers or have folks watch their show if there's more controversy, it's just.
It's what sells.
It's what sells, and it's terrible. So, I mean, somebody should just come up with a good news network, and the only things they're putting on there is random acts of kindness.
I have some positive random acts.
You do? What?
So I don't know if you remember a few months ago, we had Vince Kelder and Randy Kelder on our show of the Ryan organization. Their son, Ryan Kelder, overdosed 6 years ago. And it was their dream, their son, they feel, he had gotten out of a treatment center and he didn't really have a safe place to live. And so it's always been their dream to buy this house.
Oh, right. This is up in Saugerties, right? The Knights of Columbus?
The Knights of Columbus. So they raised, they got all of their money from private funds from the community. And they bought the house free and clear with cash.
Wow.
And they are having, for anyone who's interested in going, it's the old Knights of Columbus at the end of Route 9W in Saugerties. And they're having their ribbon cutting on Saturday at 11:30. Ulster County Chamber of Commerce. Yep, they redid the floors, and it looks beautiful.
What's the Ulster County Chamber doing?
They're doing the ribbon cutting.
So the chamber members, great.
Yep, so they've redone the floors, the painting, and everything.
News.
And, you don't really realize it until you get up, but, the outside of the building needs a little bit of love, and their hope is to kind of restore it to what it once was. And I know there's such a great family.
Been remodeled.
They're working on. They're working on. There's a huge room, a meeting hall, where they're going to be having 3 meetings a day, AA, NA, and that's the room they're working on right now.
Good.
And that will be up and running. That's kind of the first phase. And then the second phase will be to start working on the rooms.
Oh, that's
and stuff
good news.
Like that. And I think that still has to go through some, planning, zoning board and things like that.
Before they get occupancy.
Before they get that,
Yeah,
but
but
they are going to be
close.
open, which is good because for people who are struggling with addiction, which we know that's
Right.
through the roof right now.
Right.
Right. There has been, those meetings are a lot of them are held in churches, so they have been shut down.
Yeah, sure.
So this will be great that they'll have 3 meetings a day there.
That's great news. That's
good.
absolutely good news. Yeah, there's a lot of great folks out there that just go about their business trying to help wherever they can or whatever the cause is that they're trying to address. And yeah, that never gets any hype, never gets any ink, never gets any publicity.
No.
Occasionally,
No.
On this show it does.
Yes.
This show it does.
Kudos to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I first started on Kingston Community Radio a long time ago, Rich Matthews came up with this term called Feel Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on once every 2 weeks, which 5 shows. It was like so. Once out of 10 shows was Feel Good Friday. The only thing that was talked about was anything positive. No bitching, no complaining, no nothing, none of that stuff. If it was negative, we just would hit the disconnect button. Sorry, you want to call and complain?
Canceled.
Call another day of the week and complain. This is only good news. And his theory was 90% of the news that you see in the media is negative. 10% of the news is positive in the media, if you think about it. So we were that 10%. We were once every 10 days, Feel Good Friday. And the show's format was great. It really, and I've kind of kept the theme and any, between whether it's this show or I was on with Scott and I forget, I was on Fridays, Thursdays.
Yeah.
And so, but that's kind of how I think if all people or most people that can do this take a positive framework, there's going to be bumps, holes, craters in life. We know that. But you got to try to remain positive. Find the positive. Find a positive.
I have a pretty bittersweet story I want to share this morning. But first, I will say this: you talk about the media and the negative media. I had to kind of giggle. I saw an article in the media, kind of bashing America about Gabby, the girl that went missing.
Petito.
And so,
Petito.
Yeah, and so the article was talking about how people of color don't, I guess she got this attention and where if it was a person of color she wouldn't have gotten the attention, and so they're kind of going through statistics and stuff, and I'm thinking, but wait a minute, you're the same media that pushed her disappearance. It's just so it's things are crazy, things are upside down, but anyway.
No, they are. Yeah, and by the way, I have no look, that's a tragedy, whatever happened, and anyone who has a loss like that, it's tragic.
It's awful.
I'm not sure why that story gained such gigantic attention versus other probably thousands or tens of thousands of those disappearance cases.
I think, and I haven't followed it very well.
I don't even.
But I think maybe the reason why is the boyfriend or fiance. He kind of just showed up home without her like a week later and just acted like
nothing happened.
Like nobody was gonna, and then he just disappeared. So I think it's kind of his bizarre behavior that set it apart from other things. But I agree, and I feel bad for other families who are going through missing person, missing family member, and they don't get that attention.
That's a tragedy.
So.
I mean, I had a dear friend of mine had that happen to his son many years ago, and the son just kind of went off the grid. I mean, he, and no contact with the mom or dad, and maybe he was 18 or 17, and they finally found him, I think, in Vegas or something like that.
He was okay.
He was okay, but he just went on kind of a bender and just disappeared, and no
like
contact.
To do that sometime. I want to go on a bender and disappear.
It should be like there should be a company that sets those up.
It's kind of hard now with like Life 360.
You can't. Right, exactly.
You can't do anything anymore and get away with it. But, so I have.
Yeah. What else is going on?
So
Kingston,
I have a little personal, kind of a neat story. You'll appreciate.
Great.
We have my family has a special visitor in town.
Great.
His name is Matthew. So my mom about a year and a half ago, along with many Americans these days, I think, found out on 23andMe that she had a half-brother.
Oh, yeah.
So his name is Stephen, and Stephen was actually a neurosurgeon, very smart guy, lived out in California, and so he was adopted. And all of his adoptive family, they're all deceased now, okay? And he had been searching for who his biological parents were for years.
Okay.
So when him and my mom...
What part of the country was he in?
So he was born, he grew up in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
And then he lived out in L.A. So my mom was able to give him that kind of closure, like was able to tell him who his father was. So that was really good. And they had planned on meeting. You know, they were going to fly, my dad and her were going to fly out. And then COVID happened.
Oh.
Okay. And then Stephen was diagnosed, at some point he was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, okay.
And he passed last August. So he never.
How old?
I want to say 65-ish, 66-ish. So, you know, at that point, my mom was kind of going back and forth. She really wanted to go out there and meet him, you know, on they knew it was going to be his final days. And, but with, you know, she would have to go out there and quarantine for 2 weeks because of the restrictions in place. So she never got to meet him. He was cremated. And his partner, Matthew, has since, he's living in Cape Cod. They were together for 18 years. And he has his ashes. And he said he kind of gave my mom some of his. He was brilliant, you know, his degrees from college. And so he came to meet my parents yesterday. And my brother and I went over. And I mean, just looking at pictures.
Of, similarities.
Oh my gosh, it would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up of the two of them as kids.
Yeah. Oh,
and but anyway, you know, Matthew was saying how he, you know, during his life he tried so hard to find his roots. Like he always wanted to find his roots. And so we found this beautiful tree out in my parents' field and we spread his ashes.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, so he's by my mom. So which is really cool. So, and then we went in and my dad had a bottle of champagne and we cheers to 23andMe and, you know. Wow. But it's really cool if you think about it, the people that are being connected through that. It's amazing. Years ago, you would never know.
But some of those, and that's a really awesome story, very heartwarming.
And I think we'll always stay in touch. Like we're talking about going over to see him and stuff. He's he's one of those people that we just immediately warmed up to. Yeah. It breaks my heart. We couldn't meet Stephen, but it was.
Quite honestly, some of those stories reveal some indiscretions.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to go into that part. Partially because we don't have enough time, and secondly because those involved are deceased.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not going to disclose
no sense in digging up.
I'm going to keep it clean.
Yeah. Right. And that's a little bit of a what?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a who? I mean, what? My dad is not my dad, or my mom is not my mom, or.
Yeah.
So
there was always some lingering questions with my mom, and those were answered. So I'm glad
that's
for her.
great. That's really a cool story. Yeah. That really is fantastic. I think we got a great show today. Pat
Garrighan running for Town of Hurley Supervisor coming on at 7:30.
Right. Tim Wiedemann coming on at 8. Thomasine Oliphant can't make it today. And our third guest is Harvey the Rabbit. I can't remember.
Kristin.
Kristin Backhaus.
Are you testing me?
No, because you're great putting up. I saw your Facebook post. I think that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. You're awesome, I have to say. You're
awesome right back.
No, but someone was speaking your praises. I can't remember who it was. So I'll remember it in a minute. My brain is still foggy. I've only had like a half a cup of coffee. I know who it is in a minute. It's a good friend of yours, but I'll.
So you know it's a good friend of mine, but you don't know who it is?
She was we had a great Italian dinner on Tuesday, and
that's coming up, right?
Well, they tell you yes, 10:10 at 11, 10:10 at 11.
Cool.
October 10th down at the Strand. I hope we get, decent weather. That's always the question. And, if it's, as long as it's not raining or snowing, who cares what the temp is. But yeah, we had about 85 people, and at the Ulster County Italian American Foundation dinner, and President Les Lombardi did a great job. We fund a bunch of organizations, and a few of them were there. Office for Aging spoke, Gloria Ferraro, Mark Casapoli, who we've had on Thunder Thursday from the Ulster County Veteran Services Agency, spoke greatly. The Patriot House and the Salvation Army. Nice. We're up there. So.
Are you finding, because I think that is such a great organization, and even like Ancient Order of Hibernians.
Yeah.
Do you find are you getting the younger generation coming in?
It's starting to happen.
That's great. That makes me happy to hear.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of gray hairs and folks in their 60s and 70s, of which I'm one of those. Mentally not, physically, yeah. But we're starting to see it happen.
Good.
These are people in their late 30s, early 40s.
That's good.
Typically from a baby boomer household that had some tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are kind of looking. These folks are looking to continue that tradition or be with people. We're seeing more younger folks starting to come into the organization. Italian Americans, heritage, and but I think all the ethnic groups, have the same issue.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think it is? I think the demands are so, and I know as a working mom, the demands are so different on
it's true.
30 or 40-year-olds, because most families can't afford for just one parent to work.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, these kids with these travel leagues.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
if it's, keeping up with all of it.
It's certainly busier time.
The time is a much busier
much
time.
busier
And
time.
I mean, I even find, like I used to serve on the board of Ulster Green ARC for years before kids. And I did do it through like when Molly and Andrew were little. And then it just really kind of became too much for me.
But see, you're the perfect example of that. You grew up in a great household, two great parents. They taught you great values and how to give back. And
I'm very lucky.
You're a younger person that has just given amazingly back to this community, and you don't have to. You can just pay attention to your family. You could just do what you're doing. You're running a successful business, but you give back, and there should be more like that, but thank you for doing what you're doing. Seriously.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm old as dirt, so now I.
Old as dirt.
So no, I mean that's just been in my fabric since I think I joined Rotary at 32.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how I tick. My boys haven't gotten that yet. They're getting there. I say my boys. One's 39, one's 36. And they're raising families and all that stuff. But, we raised families back then, too. We found time to give back. So every once in a while I smack them up in the head and say, will you please start giving back? You guys, they grew up, not wealthy, but we had certainly enough, and they did enough, and they had stuff that other kids didn't have maybe. They have an obligation. Mm-hmm. They have an obligation. Mm-hmm. I've been kind of drumming that in their head, and we took them at really early ages to Thanksgiving dinners in Poughkeepsie to serve. First thing in the morning. Oh, we got to get up. Yes, get your arse up out of bed.
Yeah.
We're going to the Erlene Patrice or something like that. Same thing with Christmas morning. We didn't do that, but we did do Christmas Day service at places, and so they grew up in that. Let's see. Can we read a couple announcements? Quick announcements.
Sure. I do want to say I was excited. One announcement: Mark Molinaro has. He's running for Congress, so that's good.
Is that what area is he? Is it against?
It's against Delgado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting race, because obviously, being the Dutchess County executive, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It'll definitely be a very close race.
Yeah, for sure.
But Mark, I love to tell the story very quickly, and then we'll get to this announcement. When I was Mark is about my age. I think
love
maybe
Mark.
a year older. And I remember I was just graduating high school, 18 years old, and my dad had a project, aerial construction, for the village of Tivoli. And
no
he's
kidding.
like, I'm dealing with the mayor.
18-year-old.
Your age. And, it's like, he thought that was, I was like,
yeah.
well, I'm going to college first.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So good for him. He's always been a go-getter.
Yes.
So, okay, so we have an announcement here. The Kingston Tiger Band is returning to competition. They scored a 73.55 at Mohanason High School.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's how you
Yeah,
say it, on
good enough.
Saturday,
Yep.
and it's for its competition. So congratulations to them. The score placed them second among the competitors there. So they're going to be competing in 4 additional competitions across the state this fall, culminating with the New York State Field Band Championship on October 31st at the Carrier Dome.
Wow.
In Syracuse
See, that's good news, though. That means we're
That's
getting
very
back to
cool.
normal.
Very cool.
It's good stuff.
So, annual fanfare. The home competition is going to be at Dietz on Sunday, October 24th. That's actually the day of the Ryan race. The Ryan, yeah.
All right, I have the Hudson Valley Garlic Fest is back after a 1-year hiatus, right? That's always an amazing event. Lots of people show up for that. That's October 2nd and 3rd up at Cantine Field. For $10 per vehicle per day, you can park within the venue grounds. Otherwise, you got to schlep a little bit or take a bus. And then there's an admission price to get in too. But you can go on HV for Hudson Valley, GF for garlicfestival.org, and buy tickets in advance for that. And it's always a great time. And that's the Saugerties Kiwanis that started that. I presume they're still running it.
Do you know, I've never been to that, and I've always been so intrigued about, they have like garlic ice cream, right? And
garlic beer, garlic everything, yeah. So the other thing is, let's see, there's traffic restrictions and road closures, parking regulations. It's prior to the Garlic Festival, which takes place the weekend of October 2nd and 3rd. So commencing Wednesday, September 29th, that's next week. Traffic will be restricted and roads closed on Bob Mosier Drive, Pavilion Drive, and Court Drive. Anybody who lives up in Saugerties knows that probably leave the area.
Evacuate.
They'll
have evacuation route signs.
A little weekend vacay before that one. So because there's, it gets a lot of people. It used to get like thousands of people.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on
It'll
recently.
be interesting. Well, it's an outdoor event, and I'm sure people will be looking for fun things like that to do. So.
FYI, the Italian Festival is FREE. We're free Italian Festival get in. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Free to get in. Meatballs cost money. Anything else costs money.
Fried dough costs money.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of good vendors and a lot of great food. I'm actually doing a commercial, Lawrence.
I was going to say, print me up a flyer so I can put that on the events, and they can start announcing that.
We'll do that. There is one out there, but I'm going to do a little spot for 92.5 and 92.9. Right after this, I'm going to meet with Don Verity and make a little 60-second commercial.
Great.
A little radio spot for the Italian Festival. So
good. Well, get me
Italians. Here comes Pat Garrighan. No kidding.
Have him send me a copy of that, and I'll play it a couple days.
Yeah. Thank you.
You want to go to break now since Pat's here?
I think so. Yeah, we'll go to break. Absolutely. Thanks, Lawrence.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
Okay, folks, we're back on. This is Thunder Thursday. What was that?
I don't know.
Sound pretty excited.
Yeah, I know. I hate too much coffee now.
Too much coffee.
There's always a fine line. There's always a fine line between not enough coffee and too much coffee. Right.
Yes. I get my coffee after this. It's a ritual.
Okay, good.
So,
it's a big deal. So this is Tony Marmo.
This is Val Dwyer. We have Pat Garrighan, who we will introduce in a minute. I know we were talking about...
He's been in the gym, by the way. He's been in the gym.
I see him at the gym.
He's got some big guns there.
He's dedicated.
We're getting
I wish I wear my long sleeve shirts now.
You're a little intimidated?
No.
I'm not that intimidated.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're a handsome guy. You know. Good.
So before we get started with Patrick, I just wanted to also give a shout out. Dan Gruner, who is not on I had invited him on our show.
He's
He's my pinch hitter.
Yeah.
I know he was on talking about the Ride for Cancer, the Rosemary Gruner Ride for Cancer. And if anybody's looking for anything fun to do this weekend, go on the website, check it out. If you want to volunteer, it's a great way to give back to the community. It's always a great fall day. And I think on Sunday, it's going to be like 72 degrees, so it'll be beautiful. So check that out online, get involved.
Where does that happen?
Dietz Stadium it leaves from. There's a run. This year, I believe it's in honor of Tommy Keegan.
It is nice. It's for Tommy Keegan this year.
So it's a great event, and I think they usually raise over $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah. They've always done a great job for the last 18 years. It's one of the biggest charities.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is
County.
amazing.
Holy crow.
And
a lot of participation.
I always compare the Gruner and the Kelder families, how they took kind of the worst times in their lives and made something positive about it. And I think that's really cool. So anyway, we are joined in the studio by Pat Garrighan, who is running for Town of Hurley Supervisor.
I am running for Town of Hurley Supervisor.
But before we get into that, let's just give us let the listeners know who you are, what you've done, career-wise. Just give a little sketch.
Sure.
And make sure you keep out our teenage years.
Yes, please.
That could be a whole other show.
This is a PG show.
This is a PG show.
Yeah, right.
Or me. I'm more worried about him spilling the beans on me than me spilling the beans on him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about 23andMe indiscretions.
I might lose my job.
We don't want to hear about high school indiscretions.
So well paying here,
right.
No, we've gotten to the point where we've known each other too long that we don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
All right, so my background. My family's been around here for a long time. They've always believed in community service.
Right.
Always kind of given back to it in a way. My grandfather was the mayor in Kingston back in the 60s.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of stuff right now for tearing down the post office building, which is kind of funny because my other grandfather, Jack Lupton, that's where his office was.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
my gosh.
I never knew that. There's a fun fact.
Oh, see? We didn't know that.
But, the one thing they never really do bring up is, when he did that, he also got more money out of the federal government than any administration previously or since then, inflation adjusted. And one of the main reasons in order to get that money is he had to move the post office and he had to move City Hall. into the underprivileged neighborhoods, what they're called now.
Interesting.
So
that is
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
See, there's always another side to the story.
Absolutely. There is.
Never knew that.
There is, and there's a lot of people remember him fondly. There's not many as around they're around now.
It's like an elected official never made a mistake about anything. Ever.
Oh no. You're going to take the slings and arrows.
But still, I mean, you look at the trade-off, and I know the historians kind of say, "Oh my God, blah blah blah," but in balance, at the end of the day, far more came out of it positively than, okay, we have one less historic building.
Yeah, it was a beautiful building. No one's going to argue that.
Yeah.
Right, but
I will tell you who does talk about your grandfather. I really want to quickly share the story. I wish I met him because my father-in-law speaks of him fondly, and he loves, it sounds like he was such a character, and he would always tell me, my father-in-law always told this story about, there was somebody that would call, whether it was like trash pickup and maybe it was supposed to happen at 6 a.m. or whatever it was. But this person called your grandfather at 6 a.m. to say, my trash wasn't picked up. And he's kind of like, calls him at home.
Right.
So then when, his grandfather made sure his trash got picked up, he picked up the phone at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Call the guy
back. Your trash got picked up, right? The guy's like, what are you doing? Call me this hour. Well, what are you doing? Call me,
Right, exactly.
I love that story.
Yeah,
that's very accurate.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
My father was a little bit more of a behind-the-scenes type of guy.
Right.
He was heavily involved with the hospitals. He was heavily involved down at Mount St. Mary's. He was in the
Patterns for Progress. A million things.
He did everything. He really didn't want to get into elected public life because, with the business that we had.
Sure.
It takes up too much time. You know what, as a private business owner, you really can't do these things.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm kind of at a point now where, how can I give back to the community?
Yeah.
And doing a job like this is kind of ideal for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Siblings?
Yeah, I have two sisters. Kylie Shea, she actually lives in the house that I grew up on Bergman Street.
Nice.
She's married to Jimmy Shea. Got, two great nieces and a nephew. They're great friends with my son.
Great.
Then I have a sister, Molly, who lives out in Idaho and is an organic farmer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doing the whole farm-to-table thing.
World out there in Idaho.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, I've been in Montana, but not to Idaho. It's kind of similar, right? Ish.
Yeah, she's in the northern part, so it's very similar.
Yeah. Interesting. That's great. That's great.
So,
work-wise?
Work-wise, when I came back from college, I worked at the family business out of Heritage Energy. That had, there's 15,000 accounts. You're doing 450 to 500 stops a day. You're servicing 100 service contracts a day.
Busy.
Taking 700 service contracts a day.
Crazy
you got
busy.
to interact with the public. And the one thing is when you get somebody on the phone, they're not caring that you have the rest of that stuff going on. They want you to solve your problem right now.
Themselves, right.
And that's what you have to learn. That's what you have to adjust to. Now, that business was very capital intensive.
Yeah.
The expense budget on that would be anywhere from $10 to $11 million, depending on what the winter was like.
Right.
And you're also running, $1.5 million to $2 million of capex annually, and to reinvest back in the business.
Yeah.
It's the nature of what you have to do. I mean, you have a fleet of 70 trucks.
No, it's pretty complicated. A lot of moving parts, right?
And also with the volatility of pricing, it's difficult. You're either it's a lot.
I don't think people realize how crazy that is.
Crazy.
I mean,
it's the most volatile market there is.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to deal with it, adjust with it. Give people a fair price.
Right.
You're going to take the slings and arrows. I get it. And I also understand that as a society, we are moving away from that.
Right.
Which, it's time for the doom. That happens. You're going to, you won't go from coal. You go to this. You're going to go to electricity.
Right.
One of the main. I don't disagree with it. It should happen.
Right.
To be honest with you, it's one of the main reasons why we sold the business. Quite frankly.
Sure.
When I first came back, the average house would take about 1,100 gallons. When we sold the business, it would take about 710 gallons.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's just, we have data going back to the 50s, and
you could see it coming.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
You can't argue it.
If you study the data, which we were talking about earlier, all these people coming up with crazy stuff about this article. Look at the data. Look at the data. The data will tell the story.
Don't lie.
Right.
Yeah, no, 110%. Yeah.
Right.
They do not lie.
So come to current day, and John Perry said, "No mas." I'm gonna.
I think John Perry's daughter said.
John Perry's a great guy, by the
John
way.
Perry's
P.S.
a great guy.
He's very positive, upbeat, business owner himself.
school with him too.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so
Him and my husband got in a lot of trouble.
we should just have a radio show about trouble. Let's figure out who this person was.
Fun
Here
trouble.
are the facts.
Fun trouble.
Fun trouble.
You might want to do that at night.
Right, exactly.
John approached me about doing this. I've been looking to get involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Just to, you got to give back.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
This community's been very good to us.
Yep.
We've served the community for a long time. And this is kind of a really good way for me to do this.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
something I'm used to doing. I'm used to
Right.
running a budget. I'm used to running fleets. I'm used
Right.
to
Staff.
dealing with CapEx budget. It's
Working with people.
Yeah. It's not, you have to be able to work with people.
Yeah.
But all those things, all those qualities really do fall into this position, right?
yeah.
Working with a budget and customer service. I mean, your constituents are kind of your customers.
Basically, they are. I mean, you're basically blocking and tackling. You have to execute the day-to-day execution of this city government, town government, sorry.
That was a Freudian slip there, but okay. Here's what I think. Every elected official should be required to have some kind of business background.
100%.
If you're in at least some level of, whether it's county, city, some town, number one position, have some business experience in your background. Because if you've never come from trying to make payroll or trying to, figure out how to make ends meet, I don't know how you can be effective.
My dad has a saying, and it's the people that sign the front of the paycheck. And
It's
not the back of the paycheck. And it is true.
It's a leadership job, and if you've never led and never been, confronted with difficult decisions about this or that, unless you're very good at listening to other people, which a lot of folks aren't.
Or you're smart enough to surround yourself with people that can guide you.
Smarter than yourself.
Yep.
That's what I always thought when I ran the hospital. Let me hire people smarter than myself. By the way, that was a low bar.
Yeah. Stop it.
Well, the other thing is, too, it's about the people that you work with, and building a relationship with the people, getting to building a team, moving forward.
Absolutely.
I mean, even though we no longer own it, I still got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 employees that are still with me that work for my grandfather.
Yeah,
wow,
that's amazing.
That's really cool.
That's amazing.
So
that's really neat.
It's something that we've always been kind of proud of.
Yeah.
We've always had a really
Talk
tight
about
family relationship with everybody.
That's
crazy. Great.
And
That's great.
if you treat people the right way, and they'll treat you the right way. You got to treat them with respect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
always what I was been taught anyway.
Yeah.
So you kind of talked about, what kind of pushed you to run. What do you see as really some of the concerns or the issues that the town faces, or the most important things going on there?
Well, the most interesting thing, what I like about the people I'm running with right now, is that I'm a non-enrolled voter. I've never enrolled in a party.
Good.
And I'm running on rows B and C. So I'm running with Sarah Aldred, who is great. She's heavily involved.
Sarah Allred?
Yeah.
I got into trouble with her in high school too.
Aldred, sorry. No,
Valerie,
Aldred.
what
No,
you?
no,
I
wrong one.
have this
I'm teasing.
angelic.
Aldred, not Aldred.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. I'm so
geez.
sorry
I
to
made-
that,
by the way,
Sarah, that
I
I
have
just
this
called-
angelic
because Sarah
impression
Allred
of
lives
you.
in
I know, I know.
Hurley.
Yeah.
No,
I have this
mean,
angelic
good
impression.
fun.
Good
Good
fun.
fun. Good
Okay.
fun. Not trouble.
Okay,
I'm just,
okay.
it's
Okay,
good
got it.
fellowshing.
I know.
Fellowshing.
Just-
It's we're on the air. I gotta
Got
tell you.
And,
It's like the media.
She's heavily involved at the Hurley Rec. She really
Okay.
cares. She has young kids. She cares about the community deeply. She wants to do the right thing for the town of Hurley. So she's really good. You have Gavin Bellows. He's running for the town of highway supervisor.
Is he related to Gary?
That's his son.
Okay,
Bellows,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
They've been involved in Hurley politics.
They've
a
been
long time.
around forever.
Good.
And,
That's great.
runs
Wasn't
his
he
own
elected?
business.
He was an elected. Gary wasn't he?
He
somewhere.
Was, he was a supervisor for
Yeah,
11,
years.
11
Yeah.
consecutive terms.
Yep, Gary
my
Bellows.
No, I think not 11 consecutive, but he had 11.
11 terms.
Yeah.
Holy crow! He's
And
a great
then
guy.
I'm also running with a guy by the name of Bill Pullman out in West Hurley. He works for Spectrum. He's a really good guy, too. I'm getting to know him. I think
Yeah, I
people
know.
like him a lot.
Heard his name. Yeah.
And the most interesting thing is I'm also running with Judy Mahon, who's currently the town clerk and tax collector.
Okay. Great.
Judy is a 7-term incumbent
Wow.
who's a Democrat who the Democrats would not support.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Which I don't really
So
understand.
what is she running for?
Town clerk and tax
Okay.
collector. So she's had this position.
But she's still keeping the Democrat. What she'd like just do non-enrolled or something.
No,
but,
she's a
but
Democrat.
she's a Democrat.
Yeah,
The
she
Democratic Party, not. Yeah. That's
So
kinda
you have
weird.
there's a nice balance on what we're
Yeah.
running here with.
Yeah.
Well, look, at the local level, politics, party lines shouldn't matter, quite frankly. I'm
No, they
sorry.
shouldn't.
I really don't think. I mean, who cares if you're a Democrat or Republican? Your job is to serve your constituents, your people, keep the taxes manageable, take care of the roads, all the stuff that we need. And who cares if you're Democrat, Republican, Socialist?
I don't think they should
care.
reveal that until after the election. Vote based
Exactly.
on the person, and then
Well,
you can
exactly.
pull the curtain back.
I mean, it's just, because people just vote the line instead of voting the person sometimes. Well, I'm a
absolutely.
Democrat, so I'm going to vote for every Democrat, even though they're idiots. Or
Yeah.
I'm a Republican, and those guys are all jerks and ladies, but I'm going to vote for them anyway, because I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep,
that's the
true.
problem. If you look at really what's going on in our society right now, you have, the people on the far left and the people on the far right.
Yeah,
You got,
yeah.
10, 12,
Crazies, I
12%
call
out
them.
there.
Yapping.
And they're really in control of what the parties are doing.
Yes, they are.
The rest of us in the middle are like, what the heck is going on?
Silent
This is
majority.
nuts. It's
Silent
just-
majority. And good for you for stepping forward and saying, you know what, enough. Let's, let me get in there and see if I can help the situation. Describe the geography of Hurley, because some
That's
people.
very interesting.
Yeah,
you
it's
cannot
kinda
actually
weird.
go from one end of Hurley to the other end of Hurley without going into another town.
It's kind of like the town of Ulster, how it wraps around.
Yeah.
Kingston.
Is it like a U?
Yeah.
Is it
No,
of a
it
U?
kind of goes from here straight up to basically Ohio Mountain Road.
Wow.
If you go from the flats up
Wow.
to Ohio Mountain Road.
It's a big,
It's a very
bigger
big area.
geography than people think.
How
very
many,
big, and it's
how
very
many
diverse.
citizens? How many voters?
I think it was 4,500.
Okay.
45 in the town. In the town. Yeah.
So, and it's pretty, it's pretty diverse. You're going to have people that are, up in Woodstock, that they're going to lean a little bit left, and you got people down in the flats, they're going to lean a little bit right.
Right, yeah.
And you got to be able to work with all of them.
But those flats also are kind of going, like the farm industry, which traditionally was very like conservative, is kind of, we're getting a new kind of farmer. We have a phone, we have a caller.
I think it's our erstwhile friend, Dan Gruner. Good morning, Dan.
Bruner.
Tony, Val, how are you?
Good.
How are
Patrick's
you?
on too. Pat, your buddy Pat Garrighan on the hook.
Hey, Dan.
I
He's a-
heard that. Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
Tell us briefly about the big event you have coming up.
Yeah, Sunday, 18th Bike for Cancer Care at Dietz Stadium. 50-mile ride, 25-mile ride, 12-mile ride, and a 5K run walk in honor of great friend Tommy Keegan. And we are thankfully doing amazingly well. As of this morning, we're up over $91,000.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. That's amazing. I mean, that's just.
Yeah.
And this community never ceases to amaze me, because this is one of the fundraisers.
Givers. Givers.
There's a
We're
bunch of other
givers.
fundraisers going on. So tell us just briefly about where it's going to happen, times, and how people can connect, Dan.
So it's Dietz Stadium in Kingston. Festivities kick off at 7:45. The 50-mile ride is at 8:30. 25-mile ride is at 10. And the 12-mile ride and the 5K both go off at 10:30. They start from opposite ends of Dietz Stadium. So we try to time it so everybody finishes together. And then be an award ceremony recognizing the top 3 teams, top 3 individual fundraisers. We give out a Team Spirit Award. Local band, Payne's Gray Sky, will be there. Joe Bees is providing lunch for everybody.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of back to our old school roots of a old style barbecue. So
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
I think
That's
that'll
a-
be good. But
Give a website.
registration.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Website is bike4cancer.org.
Bike for Cancer.
Registration does close out today for pre-registered. You can register that morning. Recommend getting there about an hour before each event, just as, we can only move so many people per hour. But if you go to our website, click on register here, that also gives you all the start times.
Great. And bike, the 4 is FOR, not the number 4, correct? Bike FOR.
Yes, bike,
Cancer.
FOR, cancer.org.
Gotcha.
And
Good.
if anybody doesn't know where the money goes, it stays right here to help local cancer patients and their families undergoing cancer treatment right here in Ulster County.
Great. Thanks, Dan, so much. 50 miles, that's got to be, can you have like an overnight stay on that one? I would have to like sleep over somewhere, bike
Well, but yeah.
25.
Pitch a tent.
I
Pitch a tent.
I thought I saw your name signed up, you know?
I actually, a long time ago, in a land far, far away, did the one down in Manhattan when I was actually biking for a while in the multi-boroughs in down the city. That was a 50-miler, but that was all pretty much flat. And although the Verrazano Bridge was a PIA at the end, because that's the last thing you go over. And that, did you think the Verrazano Bridge is sort of flat?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not so
Not,
much.
I
It's
know.
really crowned.
Yeah.
Super crowned. And I'm
Especially when
saying,
you're running or riding and you realize all
Bad,
those hills
bad.
you... Yeah, I'm close.
all right, Dan, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for helping KCR. Thank you for doing what you've been doing for this Bike for Cancer for your mom. And I mean, it's amazing when you think about the money over the years that you've raised. It's got to be pushing $1 million. Is it getting close to that?
I'm pushing $2 million.
$2 million.
After
Holy crap!
After last year, 1.7 million, and
that's
I always say
amazing.
it's not about the money; it's about the people we've helped, and we've
Yes.
helped more than 2,500 families. So
Yeah, that's staggering. So thank you so much. This
Thank
is
you,
what we were
Dan.
talking about earlier, giving
job,
back, right?
A lot of assets in our community, and you're
Right.
definitely one of
Yep.
them.
All
At
the good
top of
stuff
the
that's
list.
going on.
So is the whole family.
you all are too. Pat, good luck to you.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care,
bud.
big guy. See you,
Take
man.
care, Dan.
Bye bye.
All right, back to Pat Garrighan.
Okay.
Town of Hurley
It
supervisor
was like
candidate.
a commercial break.
It was.
Commercial break.
And a good one, because
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
a good
worthwhile
one.
one.
Right. So let's get back to either some of the reasons or what some of the issues are, whatever,
Yeah,
wherever
what are
you
some
want
of
to
the
take
issues?
Well, in Hurley, it's not a huge budget. It's $4.9 million.
it. Right.
It's not gigantic.
Right.
I'm used to running a little bit bigger numbers
Right.
than that. But, you're dealing with some things up there that there are some issues that need to be dealt with. You have some facilities in there that do need to be upgraded. You have to reinvest in these things.
Right.
If you look at the town garage, it's a great example. It's 89 years old.
89 years old?
Yeah, it is. And luckily, a lot of the previous administrations had foresight to start squirreling some money away from that.
Put that in perspective, that's like 1920.
Yeah.
Or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think it's 1930.
1932.
Great Depression.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it is. And, they are looking at some options there, and, it is going to cost some money to do that, but some things you got to start looking at doing.
Yeah.
One of the other real big issues up in West Hurley is that water system up there is not the best.
Yeah.
And
Water is a key piece.
It's huge.
Water is a key.
And, I think, some pressure needs to be put on the owner of that water system to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either that or you got to look at other options. They have done some water studies up there. That would cost about $8.9 million. That was before all this inflation hit, so I'm sure it's a little bit more than that now.
Do you have a DEC background as well? Do you or not?
We had a lot of
that story.
No, you're not making up that story. We, by the nature of what we've done, we've had to deal with a lot of regulations, both Coast Guard and DEC.
Okay, fine.
So, if you look at the facilities that we've owned
Right.
and had to maintain over years, I mean,
Right.
we've spent some serious seven-figure money to make sure that those things are up to
So
speed.
that's talk about qualifications and background. Then you're
check every
perfectly
box.
suited
You have to.
for this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
You understand,
come in
I mean-
with experience.
And I do understand that it is going to be an issue for some people that I do come from a background that deals with fossil fuels. But
Okay.
that's where we are. That's
Yeah.
where society was. It's going to move away from that. I understand that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also understand that my family and the Davenport family probably spent more money to protect the environment
Right. Exactly.
by doing the right thing
Right.
than
Yeah.
most people around here would ever even fathom.
Think about. Yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
So you got to do what you're required to do.
Right. Speaking about Bill Davenport, he's
I love him.
a
one of a kind,
character
isn't he?
of the
Yes, he
first
is.
degree, man.
He
I
is.
remember him from the hospital days, and
Yeah.
always.
That's where I always saw him was
great
at the
guy.
Benedictine Ball.
Yeah.
Best wardrobe in Ulster County.
That
That's not
guy.
even close.
I always envisioned him like Teddy Roosevelt. That guy.
Yeah,
He always
yeah.
right. He had a little similarity to
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt, and that kind of, not a braggart kind of personality, but a big personality. And you never. And your dad was a little bit, the opposite. He was always thinking, not a big speech maker, but there was always stuff going on inside. Always.
And you always listened to what he had to say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two of them were a great team for a long time.
Oh,
They raised
man.
a lot of money for the hospital.
Oh
as you know.
man, for this community,
yeah,
absolutely.
For the cancer,
Yeah.
building, they did.
they
I
did.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were.
So now, and I think I know the answer to this, but would a municipality as small as Hurley be receiving COVID money similar to like the city of Kingston is?
Not to the extent of Kingston, but I mean,
But you will
every
receive a little
municipality
to help
gets
with some of
COVID money.
these.
Yeah, but it's not going to be enough to deal with, some of the infrastructure needs that the town has.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with you can only go up 2% on taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's some pretty difficult decisions that had to be made.
Right.
You need to have people that have a background to be able to deal with that.
Right, and kind of prioritize and,
Correct.
yeah.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
The thing about that water study up in West Hurley, I think it was like $8.9 million to put a water system in there.
Wow, yeah.
Now, to do that, you would have to tax people that were on that water system. That comes back at twice the legal limit that you could actually tax them. So how do you make that work?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much you can really kind of do as a
Well,
town.
some of that is, it's got to be expense side management, right? I mean, you got to look at where you're wasting and, where you can cut back and save, like any business, right? I mean, it's like, that's the thing. People
Yeah.
say, oh, it's the taxpayers' money. Let's just spend.
Yeah,
Not so much.
To an extent, but you also have to reinvest in what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't-
Infrastructure.
That's the nature of things I've done, like the fleet. You're always constantly have to reinvest in the fleet. I mean, I can't. I couldn't be running the fleet that's 20
There
years
is
old.
state money for things like that too, and
Sure
it
there
doesn't
is.
have to be the burden. We do a lot of
No,
work like
no.
EFC money is huge and that
Yeah.
kind of work and thing.
What's EFC mean?
It's a state agency funding, and I'm not sure what the
Economic
acronym stands for,
financial
but they do a lot of like water improvements and things like that. Environmental Facilities Corporation, something like that. But like the building,
You have to be able to look at every avenue. You have to look
wherever
at,
you can.
turn over every stone. That's what you got to
Mm-hmm.
do, and that's what you're doing in business anyway. So you're just doing it now for the people that you're neighbors with.
Yep.
And making sure that they have what they need to be able to function as a town.
Election day is?
Early voting starts 30 days from today.
Really?
October 23rd.
Yeah.
And then election day is November.
Okay.
2nd. Correct.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's early.
It is early. It's coming up quick.
Yeah.
It's coming up really quick.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
So early voting, 30 days. So what would that date be? Where are we?
October 23rd.
Okay. Okay. So what's that, like 10 days?
Yeah.
11 days before? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's great. So you're running to just make a difference over time, and thank you for stepping up.
Yeah, thank you for
doing that.
stepping up. I think
it's not many people choose to do that,
I
right?
know.
Everybody decides,
Well-
they complain.
Yeah, but you have to.
Yeah.
When you live in a community and you want to see the community thrive, and
Right.
you want to see the community stay the way you like it, you have to do these type of things.
Right.
And also for your
Otherwise,
kids
yeah,
too, like, for
exactly.
your son, you want to leave him something that he could, if he wants to stay here, he can stay here. And that's kind of what my drive is with, trying to give back is, leaving a place for my kids. I don't want them to grow up and look at me and say, Mom and Dad, what'd you leave
do?
me here?
Just spent a lot of money and didn't do anything?
Yeah, you're lazy.
Yeah, lazy, right?
Yeah, you got to do that. And it's just, if we don't do that, the people that grew up here and moved back here or want to raise a family here, we have a lot of new neighbors that have moved in.
Yes, we do.
They moved up here for a lot of different reasons, but one of them is they liked the community.
They like what they saw.
They like what they saw, and they like the way that things kind of run. Now, I do understand things are going to change. Yeah, everything changes all the time. But it's the speed of change and the degree of change, and if everyone agrees with it, that is a trick to maintain.
I think you just said something really important is like the speed of change. And I think
that's a big deal.
Really, because I think that's some of the kind of headache we're getting right now is some things have just changed a little too fast. And I'm kind of going to like the bail reform. Like it just went a little bit too much. Just some things politically went a little bit too. So I think you're right. You got to be kind of
especially at the
thoughtful
town level.
with it.
You're not getting into that type of stuff.
Oh no! I know. I'm just talking the political. Like some things on the state level have changed way too fast, and I think, and obviously, and people are noticing it, and I think that's really smart of you to say, we have to responsibly change at the rate that makes sense, rather than making these drastic.
Well, everyone's so passionate about their own positions that they don't hear what anybody else is saying.
Yep.
And
A little listening goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
It does. And, when I growing up, I would see people come in, to ask my dad for advice, and they could be on the total opposite spectrum as him, but they'd still sit down and they talk about what the issues were and they try to come up with a resolution.
Right.
Now it's like, if you don't agree with me, you don't exist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you don't exist.
Yeah. That's bad.
That's not what.
Then it becomes emotional, and then it's.
No, that's not what Ulster County is. It's not what Hurley is. It's not. It's not what.
Exactly.
This
It's not who we
community
are.
is. It's not.
We have to lead by example. I mean, that's at the end of the day. That's
point,
what has
Pat.
to happen. So.
Definitely a good point.
All right, Pat Garrighan, thank you for coming on. Thank you. Good luck. Thanks for all you've
Appreciate it.
done.
Yeah,
and-
good
for
luck.
having me on.
You've got my support. I know you can't have
You
my
live in
vote,
Kingston.
but you have my support.
You
and
know
I'll do
peeps.
anything.
You know
I know
peeps. You know. So,
So, I mean, I'll be out walking around.
Good.
Meeting the
Good,
people. So
good.
good luck to you
Some
and your.
big bald guy knocking on your door. It's me. I'm not going to do anything to you. I just want to talk to you.
Very quickly before we let you run out of the room, I saw you went to Nashville.
Yes,
So
I did.
and that looked like
Highly recommend it.
yeah, it looks
It's,
great. Have you been?
Haven't been. My buddies from Highland Rotary Club, Steve Lawback and his wife Deb, had their anniversary. They went out to Nashville not too long ago, like within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hear it's amazing.
Love
It's-
it. Love it.
The amount of development going on down there is
Staggering,
jaw-dropping. I was,
yeah.
I was sitting up in one of the, at the hotel. They had a
Yeah.
restaurant up there, and I'm just sitting there. I'm counting cranes. There's like 8 of them.
Wow.
And it's not an intimidating city in size. It's easy to walk
Right.
around. You can get
Right.
to everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. And
Right.
you will see some musical talent down there that you would not believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah,
Good. I'm
great,
going in
great.
November. That's why
Oh,
I'm
cool.
asking. Yeah.
Very
yeah.
good.
So
All right, Lawrence,
thank
take
you.
it away.
Yeah,
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
No
Appreciate
problem.
you coming
Thanks for
on.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
All right, folks, this is Thunder Thursday, and we are here. You are there. This is Tony Marmo.
This is Val Dwyer. Welcome. Thursday, September 23rd.
Oh, I forgot. Flash.
Ba-ba-ba-boom.
I forgot that
Yeah,
part.
there's actually, I think there might be some of that in the forecast tonight.
Yeah, I think so. A little
lot of
flashing and
rain.
booming. Yeah, it's
Lot of
okay.
rain.
It's nice
So,
and warm.
We have some birthdays
We have
this
some
morning.
birthdays.
We got 3 birthdays for
Right.
September 23rd. Happy birthday to Jenny Madison from your friends at the Wellness and Healthy Lifestyle Club. I'm not
All
sure
right.
where that is. Do you know where that is?
No, I don't. I want to say I thought it was somehow related to the Benedictine Hospital, but
Okay.
or whatever it's called these days. Wow, this is wish a happy birthday to Dr. Paul Jankowitz. One of our caller inners, frequent caller inners, and supporter of KCR Thank you, Dr. Paul, from all your friends and family, your siblings, Grace, Ted, and Laura, all your nieces and nephews, and the greats, which means there's some great nieces and nephews.
Yeah, cool.
He doesn't look that old to have greats, but apparently is. I hope you have a great day, Dr. Paul.
And lastly, but not least, a happy birthday to Susan Aiello from your friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day.
I know Susie
Happy birthday.
Aiello. She's in the Ulster County Italian American Foundation.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, all right. And
You got your cowbell there?
Yeah,
We're
I got
gonna
the cowbell
give away
ready.
a
And the winner,
cow pie.
delicious cow pie from 62 on Neal Street. We're going to be there on November 4th for the Happy Christmas Fund, KCR fundraiser. So the winner is, for September 23rd, that is Susie Aiello. Susan Aiello. So pick up your cow pie and happy birthday. I want to also give a shout out belatedly to Nina Poshapak, our great Ulster County clerk for these many years, and also who's been on a million boards, including Boys and Girls Club.
Talk about giving back to the community.
Ulster County Italian
Boys
American
and Girls
Foundation,
Club.
and KCR host on Tuesdays with Cameron Rylance. So happy birthday, Nina. I hope you had a great day yesterday. And
I think she just had a wedding
son
in
got
her
married.
family.
Yeah, son.
Somebody got married.
Drew got married, yep.
Okay,
Drew got married,
So
so-
congratulations on that.
Yep, absolutely. So I think our 8 o'clock guest is on the phone.
He is.
Tim Wiedemann, good morning.
I'm here. Good morning, Tony and Val. You guys can hear me?
We can.
Good morning, Tim.
Loud and clear, we can. We'd rather see your handsome and smiling face in the studio, but we understand these things happen.
Yeah, sorry the scheduling mix-up this morning, but I'm happy to join you via phone, and I'll be back in studio next time.
Great, great. We appreciate that. Tim is the Director of Economic Development for Ulster County, and boy, there's a lot going on, Tim.
I know, it's busy. It is always this time of year. I'm looking forward to a bunch of festivals that are on in the next couple of weeks.
Yes,
And
yes.
lots of other stuff going on as well. So
Great, yeah. Bring your stomach with you to the Italian Festival.
Agreed. Yeah. And that's always such a great weekend, right?
Yeah, it
There's
is.
always so much going on.
Oh,
So,
positive.
Festival.
Yep.
The Kingston Design Show House, and I think Field and Supply down at the Brickyard. I think they're on again this year. So
Right, but out of all of them, we have the best food because we're Italian.
Exactly.
I hate to be braggish about that.
No, but you probably are right.
You are right. Definitely, not problem.
Yeah. So, thank you. I happened to be at the chamber breakfast Tuesday morning, first time the Ulster County Chamber, Regional Chamber got back together, and there was a great presentation by the folks building workforce and senior housing up at the Golden Hill property. Dylan, and I can't think of the other fellow's the other person's name. But maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, or whatever else is on your mind. There's a lot going on, man.
Yeah, sure. I'll say just a little bit about that project. So Penrose is the developer, and we partnered with them to redevelop the county jail, the old county jail site, as workforce and senior housing. And it's exciting. I mean, I think we've talked before about how all these challenges are kind of interconnected. We talk a lot about how a lot of employers are still struggling to find workers. And, I think the fact is that relates to housing and how hard it is to find housing that's affordable. I think people use the word affordable housing, and that's really, I think, got a negative connotation, but I think we all need housing that we can afford for sure,
Yes.
and it's a challenge right now. So yeah, we're hoping to add some inventory to the housing stock, and I think, hopefully we'll see more and more of that happening as projects like this one up there get going. So.
Yeah, that's great. So, I think the RFP, they went through a really good process, and they're very responsible builders and developers. I mean, I was pretty impressed. Plus, they were two young guys. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Both of them were looked like they were around 40, late 30s, 40s. So that's always good.
Yeah, and
to
they've
see.
got a track record of doing really, I think, impressive projects. And I think one of the things that really impressed us about their proposal was the extent to which they agreed to do public outreach, because building a project like this, people sometimes have concerns, and it's really important to listen, hear those, and then reflect those in kind of the design of the project. And they, I think, do a really good job of that kind of work. So
yeah, and we hope it moves along as quickly as possible, and before I have to go into a nursing home. I mean, that's
take a while, Tony. I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
no, thank you. But yeah, I mean, that's always the concern about any economic development project in our county, that it takes, a very long time. And unless the developers really have gumption and grit, like our friends at the Kingstonian, a lot of them just drop out and say, I'm done, I'm out,
Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual to see projects take 5, 6, 7 years to get through all of the approvals and then get constructed. But I think, in a lot of ways, we're learning how to do it better. I mean, I feel like that was the case maybe 10 or so years ago. It would take that long. But you see now projects like this one, the Kingstonian, the housing project we're doing, Landmark Place out in the city of Kingston, out towards town of Ulster. These are things that I think moved with relative speed in this whole thing, and we're hoping that, as we learn better how to do projects that that listen to the community and take into consideration what people want and need, that'll help move them quicker. And quite frankly, all of this in my world, we're starting that process now on the former IBM site, and so I think we're hopeful that we won't need 10 years to get that back and up and running, even though it does take a lot of work. It's a big project, but yeah, hopefully we'll see all of this stuff start to happen more quickly. I think that's maybe the condition that our economy is in right now. There's just so much pent-up demand for this stuff, and hopefully that'll make it all move a little quicker.
Yeah, you want to give a little sketch about the IBM situation, or the former IBM situation out there, and what is the nature of that project?
Yeah, and I think people probably saw, there was a Freeman article maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. Some of the properties on the old IBM site actually sold. So for those that haven't been following along, the properties were sold to a quote-unquote developer 20-some years ago, right as IBM left. And then they sat empty for so long, or mostly empty, not really anything going on there. But,
maybe he was an undeveloper.
An undeveloper, yeah, that's maybe the right term. But he managed to hold on to them, and despite the fact that there were, over the last 20 years, I'm sure, lots of opportunities for him to do projects or sell parts of it, never really got to that. But then in the last year and a half, I think really to a credit to our county executive, Ryan, who decided, I think when he took office, that he was just going to put the screws on him and say, look, we're no longer going to sit around and not collect taxes and just kind of defer to you you owner to figure out what to do here. We're going to put the pressure on and try to get something happening.
Yeah.
And so, as I've talked about before, the county foreclosed on some of the properties on the west side of the IBM campus, like down at the end of Boyce's Lane. And we are, I think, imminently going to start seeing some activity there. We've been doing events and stuff this summer. In fact, Woodstock Film Festival, little plug, is going to be there next weekend, doing their festival there, since it's more conducive to kind of the new COVID event realities. So that'll be exciting and fun. But then in the winter, we're going to start gearing up for redeveloping that space. And so I think we'll have more to talk about on that in the coming months.
Great.
But I think there's progress there. But then it was kind of a surprise to everyone that there were a few buildings on the other side, complete other side of the campus, like along the railroad tracks, kind of near the Kingston Athletic Soccer League's outdoor fields there, that sold overnight, kind of in a surprise deal. And so I think it's a sign that there's momentum now, and that Alan, who's owned those properties, is hopefully seeing the writing on the wall that it's time to get out of the way and let stuff happen there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've been always kind of fielding interest that people call us and say, what's up with those buildings over there? Anything that I can buy? And we've usually been pessimistic about any opportunity there, but I think more and more it seems like maybe we're going to see some movement. So again, it's still early in that process, and if he were to sell more of the properties, it would still probably take a while to get through all the planning and see something really happen there. But I think all the groundwork is laid, and there's signs that it's starting to turn around. So,
well, that's good. None, and I raised this at the breakfast at the chamber. None of this happens without some discussion or consideration about workforce and available folks to do all this.
Yep.
I know this is a challenge, but any insight there or any thoughts from that standpoint? By the way, speaking as the chair of the Ulster County Workforce Development Committee, I wish we and in the staffing business, but I don't know. I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts, recent thoughts.
Yeah, well, I was just going to pull up. We just got some latest unemployment numbers from the state, and as I pull those up, I'll just say, we continue to struggle with this. I think it's been actually 2 months since I was on. I had to skip last month. Sorry to miss you guys, but that time we saw the expiration of the pandemic enhanced unemployment benefits, and we had talked before about will that kind of shift people into thinking about getting back to work. I don't know what you've seen, Tony, but I still hear that our employers, maybe there's been a little bit less difficulty, but it's still a major challenge for them, and especially finding people who have the right skills, really it's mostly about those soft skills that we talk about, just being able to show up on time, be consistent in the work, be reliable, that kind of stuff. I think we're still hearing that our employers are really worried about it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of return coming now. I think folks are finally realizing that they can't be out of the workforce forever, but we talked about this in some different circles. Baby boomers who decided, that they're done. They were born in an era,
a lot of retirement.
They're in retirement age and they're just working for whatever. And then they said, you know what? Because of COVID, because of this, because of that, I'm just going to stop.
Just the mentality, life's too short. After COVID,
Right.
sometimes people realize, life's too short. I'm gonna.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So multiple reasons. School's back in. That kind of takes a little pressure off some folks needing childcare.
Correct.
Right, and deciding that childcare was more expensive than staying home.
Right.
With their kids,
Yep.
took themselves out. Folks that think they can become millionaires selling stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not going to happen more than likely. So it's and I also mentioned that typically, and especially in a place like Mohonk or some of our hospitality tourism businesses, they used to get folks coming from Eastern Europe on work visas, right, and South America.
Yeah.
That didn't happen because of COVID. Right. So it's not one issue that's preventing the workforce from really blossoming again.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Different variables.
Not to mention the Delta variant,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's something that I think we just have to keep plugging through, and there's plenty of jobs out there in Ulster County. One of the good things that have come out of this a little bit, I think, is wages have crept up. So no longer 12s and 13s or 15, 16, 17, approaching 20. And I know businesses are swallowing hard on that, but it's either that or no production or no business or no restaurant.
Yeah, but the other side of that is the disposable income hasn't really changed, but because the wages have gone up, but the inflation has gone up, so
everything costs more.
Yeah, everything costs more, so people's disposable income hasn't really changed, unfortunately.
Right.
And
I go ahead, Beth.
No, I was going to say, and then on the flip side of that, I question has the requirement, I guess, for lack of a better word, for to receive assistance for food, food stamps and things like that, has that gone up? Because then if it hasn't,
you mean more difficult to?
No, so let's say the threshold for wages. Right. Okay, have they adjusted that? Because if they haven't adjusted it, then people are making more money. They may be boxed out of receiving food, but yet their disposable income hasn't changed. So you really have to look at everything. More, higher wage doesn't necessarily mean people are doing better.
Do you know, Tim?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that those have changed recently. Those are kind of tied to, I think, federal rates that change on an annual or semi-annual basis. So I'm not totally sure, but I think that it's likely that it doesn't at pace with the. I mean, we're seeing wages increasing pretty rapidly. A year and a half ago, I think the $12, $13, $14 an hour could have gotten you people, but now, every employer I talk to, they're starting at 16, 17, 18, and so. But again, then everything's costing more too. So I think, Val, you're right on it. It's like. Yeah, and this relates back to our economic development strategy. We talked, I think, in past calls about this Ulster 2040 report and about how the idea should be that our economy exists in order to provide our people with, the incomes that they need in order to sustain themselves in our community. And it's a delicate balance, and obviously there's a need, unfortunately, for some of those social assistance programs. But if they're not tied right to the incomes that people are making and the expenses they have, then they no longer serve their purpose either. I mean, this with the housing challenge, because quite frankly, that's where costs of housing have risen so quickly that I think a lot of people who could get by or needed subsidy now are barely able to make ends meet even with a subsidy because it doesn't cover market rates for rents here, and so
it doesn't.
Yeah, it's a challenging time.
And even when you look at, when you do look at like what the quote unquote affordable rate is for rent, it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
rents
are a whole nother discussion.
People are really struggling. And I look at like what my mortgage is, and I live in a fairly large house. And when I compare it to, it's pretty close to what people are paying for.
Yeah.
Like my brother has a 2-bedroom apartment, and he pays about $100 less than I pay for my mortgage.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and so.
I know the folks.
And by the way,
Go ahead.
if you tried to get a mortgage, try to buy a house now. I mean, I don't know about how long.
Oh yeah, no, I've been in my house 16 years, but agreed on that.
Yeah, so your mortgage would be double probably.
Correct.
Because of the value of your house.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's tricky.
But the guys from Penrose. Go ahead.
I was just going to try to change us from the doom and gloom, which I think is so easy to fall into. There's so many challenges.
Sorry, that's
but
me.
No, I'm there with you. But
yeah.
One of the things that I think is, still there are, I think in recognition of all these challenges, both for individuals and then for employers who are also struggling, they got to pay $18 an hour and they don't know where they're going to come up with it. That's a tough situation to be in as an employer. But, I wanted to remind any listeners that, I think sometimes these programs seem like they're for big businesses and do they apply to me? But I know a lot of people in Ulster County who have either their own business, either a small business or maybe just their own thing, or they have a side business that they do, and so they have their own sole proprietorship doing their side business. And there's a grant program right now that actually is available to almost any business and really focuses on those really small businesses, even if it's just a one-person shop. And it's the New York State Pandemic Small Business Recovery Program, and it's grants of easily $5,000 is kind of the minimum, and it can go up to $50,000. And I just talked just last week with somebody who was a sole proprietor, just has their own business. It's just them. They're an agent for some musicians, and they didn't think that any of these programs would apply to them. But they reached out, applied for this. They had a little bit of a challenge collecting all the paperwork, but the folks at the program were able to help them figure out what they needed, and then they got awarded the grant. So
that's great.
One that people might be overlooking. It's,
so,
for more information and to get the application, you can go to nysmallbusinessrecovery.com.
Great. Give that one more time.
Yeah, it's nysmallbusinessrecovery.com.
Great. That's awesome, Tim, because there are programs out there to assist and bridge and this is monies that have come into the county and we want to get rid of it.
Right.
We give it to the folks that need it and deserve it, and I'm sure there's a process that will weed out folks that are just there for not great reasons. But I mean, a lot of small, as you say, mom and pop businesses, single proprietorships need this kind of assistance right now. And I mean, businesses picking up, but a lot of times businesses have come from a big hole from the pandemic, or can't cope with lack of staff or whatever the challenge is.
To scale back their hours because they don't have the workforce.
Right.
And things
This is a great program, and there is a lot of reason for optimism and moving forward. I think I think the county executive and his team have done a great job. Yourself, Evelyn Wright, John Milgram. I'm probably leaving somebody else out. Mark Ryder. Who am I leaving out of that batch of?
You got the big guns, and then Thomasine, who you work with.
Thomasine Oliphant's great.
Training. Yeah, she's just an amazing powerhouse doing so much of this good work.
Sue Copenhaver,
a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people behind the scenes that are really helping pull in the right direction. But I appreciate the shout out for them all, and I'll thank them.
Please. We don't want to leave out our friend from the Department of Social Services, whose name I'm blanking on, but he's on our workforce development board. He's going to shoot me.
That's our Commissioner, Mike Iaposi.
Yeah, Mike Iaposi, right. I'm so close to the Italian festival, I'm not sure how I forgot his name.
You're in trouble.
I know. He's a great guy. So, yeah, look, you are all, thoughtful, concerned, considerate people that are just trying to make Ulster County better for everybody. Doesn't matter of income status, and it takes a team effort to do this. And
it's kind of unprecedented times too. So
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to kind of think outside the box and be creative.
Absolutely.
But the good news is that we do have, with Tech City, and we do have areas that can be developed, and we have options.
Right.
So that's good. But.
Yeah, and I think that's the exciting thing. Honestly, I've been around for a while in Ulster County, 20 plus years, and I've seen, even though I wasn't born and raised here, I still feel like I've seen these sites like IBM, and then the other one maybe I'll make a quick mention of is down in Ellenville, the former Schrade knife factory, and before that, Sandal Master. And we just, in the last month and a half or so, announced that a major cannabis manufacturer is eyeing that site and is likely to open a giant facility there, maybe around 400,000 square feet, 300 or 400 employees. So, these sites that have sat dormant for so long are starting to come back, and I think that it's an exciting moment, and I'm thrilled to just be a part of that and helping figure out how we make it move forward. So,
yeah, there's a lot. I happened to be on the Hudson Valley Economic Development Corporation meeting last week, and I was just stunned by the number of projects that are going on in the Hudson Valley. Legoland, that's a gigantic project, and I think the Amazon. But there's a number of, I'll say medium-size economic development projects that are going on that, again, hopefully, some of the population from the metropolitan New York area that's migrated up, hopefully they don't want to work remote, or they're not able to work remote, and they need to get a job, a regular job, in-person job, and there's going to be multiple opportunities. So.
And now there's the Winston Farm proposal.
Farm, right?
Yeah. That's exciting. Another one that, that site has been proposed for so many things, and finally it feels like they're getting it off the ground. I think the Mullen family that bought it recently seemed to have new energy in it, so that's great.
Yeah, so
it would be great for just think about the spending power or something like that would bring into our county. That would leak in not only Saugerties, but would honestly leak into other towns and villages.
And what is that project? So, what's proposed right now for the listeners in terms of what do
They're proposing a bunch of things. It's a large site, so there's a mix of tourism venues, so perhaps in some sort of amusement park and resort, maybe a concert venue. They're talking about also some space for housing development and some industrial buildings. So I think they're just starting down the process, and I think identifying which of those things they have interest right away to get underway with, and I think that it'll be some of the stuff that folks will be excited to see. I think they are talking with some national chains about resort/amusement park space and maybe a concert venue for the first step.
That's a big deal. That's a huge property there. That's a big property. It's where they had the Woodstock, 94 Woodstock.
Yeah,
right?
I was there.
You were?
What? I was there. So fun.
And
You're a wild child.
To tell the tale.
What did he say?
He said, tell the tale.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun. Were you there, Tim?
I was not, but I hear it was a wild time.
Oh, it was really fun. I actually ended up getting a ticket, kind of a last minute thing. I didn't want to go. I was a little nervous about, just the whole idea of it, like not being able to get in or out or whatever, but I got a ticket last minute, and I'm really glad I did, just because it's such a...
How many people were there? How many?
A lot.
A lot. Thousands.
A lot. But it was really... I saw a lot of pretty interesting sights, so it was cool. Yeah. It was cool. So no, I think I'm excited about the concert venue. My family, we went to Hershey Park this summer, and it kind of brings up that piece of property when what you're talking about with the concert venue and the amusement park. They kind of have that same setup at Hershey Park, and it's really nice. It's very clean, and they've done a great job. And like I said, the spending power that could bring to some of the small businesses in our community, I think would be great.
Yeah, it's right off the thruway, so it's an easy spot.
Yeah.
You can really picture it being a very successful location for something like that. So wish them luck in their process, and I'm sure we'll have lots more to hear and talk about on that in the future, too. It'll be just like these other things. They've got a road ahead of them, but I think they seem really committed to it, and they seem to have a really good idea. So hopefully we'll get there.
Cool.
All right, Tim Wiedemann, Ulster County Director of Economic Development, thank you for being on every month. We look forward to seeing your smiling face in the studio in November, and thanks for all you're doing, and to County Executive Pat Ryan's team. Keep up the good work that you're doing.
Thanks, Valentoni. It's always good to talk with you guys, and keep up the good work you guys are doing, too.
Thank you.
Thanks,
we will.
Tim.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend.
All the best.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Lawrence, let's go to break.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer? The Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from Town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Appreciate it. Okay, folks, we're back on our last half hour, the last leg to the finish line, bringing it into the barn.
Yeah, it went fast. This morning went very fast, I feel like.
Like a blink. Well,
but good guests do, right?
We do, exactly.
And we have a great final guest to bring us to the finish line.
But people need to know that this is Thunder Thursday. They need to know that. And
flashing and booming.
Flashing and booming. This is Tony Marmo.
Val Dwyer, good morning.
And good morning. Good morning, Kingston, right? And other places. We broadcast. This signal actually carries, the AM signal carries almost up to Albany.
Well, the YouTube signal carries worldwide.
That is true, by the way.
That's a little bit more impressive than the AM.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, we're joined this half hour by Dean Kristin Backhaus from SUNY New Paltz. I put SUNY Ulster in the little email, and she quickly said, not SUNY Ulster. Wrong school. SUNY New Paltz. So welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to
Thanks
have
for
you.
having me here today.
I think you've been on before.
I have.
Point, right?
Yeah, in the other place.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think of our new digs?
It's really nice.
Right? This is like professional and cool. And
it is
We're professional and cool.
We are. But
absolutely.
We don't have to wear headphones, sometimes. Well, that's a different deal.
Did you have to do that in the old studio?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't do that either. But
I might not have signed up for this if I had to.
Right,
It's a long 2 hours.
Can't mess with the do.
Can't mess with the do. It's a long 2 hours.
So welcome. So
Thanks.
give a little background on first yourself and, where you grew up in a log cabin in Kentucky. Or
That sounds interesting.
Not that far away.
Where are you from?
From Saugerties.
Oh, you're from Saugerties.
I am, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, straight through Saugerties Central Schools, through the
Wow.
high school. Went away to college at Binghamton, and then was at
Great
University of Vermont. Yep. And then started working at SUNY New Paltz in 1980 something. Irrelevant.
It's only a
Really
number.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
When you started there, what did you start?
I started out as assistant to the dean of education. So I went in. I had a master's, and that was really the job that I could get at that time. And then I just kind of worked my way through, and then went to SUNY Albany while I was working there and got my PhD.
Good for you.
And kind of worked and did that at the same time. And then a teaching opportunity came along in the School of Business, teaching human resources. That's where Tony and I go way back to HR days.
Yeah,
and
boy, that's a long time ago.
teaching HR and management and leadership and that type of thing. And then in 2014 became the dean of the business school. So yeah,
Cool, congratulations.
so it was kind of a nice, it was kind of a nice transition from one thing to the next. And so, so I'm like SUNY through and through.
Yeah.
And SUNY New Paltz for, decades. So huge advocate of public education and a huge advocate of what we're doing at New Paltz.
Who's the chancellor these days?
The chancellor.
Oh, no, not the big one. Who's
guy
in
is
charge?
Jim Malatras. Our guy is
Your
Don
guy.
Christian.
Right, Don Christian's been there for a while now.
Yes, and
Yep.
he'll retire at the end of this
no
academic
kidding.
year. Yeah.
Wow. Have they named his replacement?
No, we're just starting the search.
There goes another baby boomer out of the market.
See you later.
We're talking about.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know that. Well, good for Don. He's done a great job
He has
there.
done a great job. He
And
really has. Yep. And he's gotten us to a great place with great rankings, and a new ranking just came out showing us like in the top 300, I think, public schools in the country, which I probably just misquoted, but it's
That's
really
okay.
good.
Yeah.
No, but that's
there's
okay.
a lot of schools you're going up against, so
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just been such transformation with that school over the years.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of building and
a
How
lot of
many
construction.
students?
Around 7,000,
Okay,
7,500
good. That's
students.
a great size.
Yeah, it's
Big
a perfect
impact.
size.
Yeah, it is a perfect size.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And do you still see, I know when I was college age, I remember there was a lot of the SUNY New Paltz population was like the Long Island area. Do you still find that's about the same?
Metropolitan New
Yeah.
York.
Still is. Metropolitan New York, a lot from the 5 boroughs, a lot from Long Island, Westchester, Rockland, a lot of commuter students, and then some upstate, some north of New Paltz, but I would say, very much predominantly downstate.
It's really a great option for people that geographically come from that area because it's such a neat town, first of all, right? It's very quaint, it's walkable, and you have the bus right there. So if you want to go home, so you're kind of you can
spot.
you don't really need a car to be there, and you can also jump on a bus and get home. And so it's nice for people that live in that area. And it's also a little step away from that hustle and bustle that they're used to, and a taste of a little something different.
And it's good for the students, and I think it feels good to parents when they bring their kids there because it's a small town and it's a beautiful campus and it's safe and things are walkable and, it just has a nice feel.
So 100 years ago, SUNY New Paltz was known, New Paltz College known as pretty much a teacher's college, right? And if you talk to any teacher that's almost probably now retired, a lot of them from this area went to teachers, the SUNY, New Paltz College. But now it's evolved just gigantically. So talk a little bit about, what some of your,
hot like degree concentrations are and what
people will go. I mean, we know you're the dean of the School of Business, and but why do people go to SUNY New Paltz for curriculum? What's the draw these days, or is there a specific draw?
We have a lot of majors. So one of the draws is that there's flexibility because we have over 100 majors there, which is, which is huge and something that you'd expect to get at a university, not at a college. So students go, they may pick one thing, but then they can decide that they want to do something else.
You get a degree in Italian studies there or something?
You cannot.
I was open.
But I could look into that for you.
Put it in the comment box, the suggestion box.
That's right.
I know Lou Saraceno. He's and there's another fella.
yeah,
There's another fellow who's in our Italian organization, a contemporary of his, another Italian guy, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I interrupted. Go ahead.
So anyway, we have really strong programs in fine and performing arts. So like a national leader in medals program and our MFA program, Master of Fine Arts and Bachelor of Fine Arts, really strong programs.
Okay.
We've got a great engineering school, so electrical and mechanical engineering, computer engineering.
Wow.
And still the School of Education,
Right.
enrolls, a large proportion of our students. And then the business school.
Yay!
Yay! Which is why we're here.
Coming up.
But my friend who's the Dean of Liberal Arts and Sciences would be most chagrined if I did not mention that we have outstanding liberal arts programs, that prepare students for all kinds of careers.
Variety of. Not sure what I want to be, but I just need a well-rounded education.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Right? And they really do. I mean, that's a really strong. People don't think about that. They think, oh my God, if my kid's a history major, it's over. And that is so not true.
Yeah.
Because they learn to think and write, and then they can go in any direction they
want.
want.
Or philosophy.
Yeah. Philosophy is actually. That's a terrific major. Yeah. It really is. It really is.
Black and white person. I'm an accountant. So
Yeah.
I don't like writing.
You're not a typical accountant, I don't think.
Well, yeah, thank you.
You're not. You're not. I mean, you're not a bean counter.
No, but I mean, as far
as
you have
a personality.
Writing,
a lot of.
I do have a personality.
Hey, easy. Okay, so business school. Business school.
I know it's not a bunch of boring people, Tony.
I have a degree in finance and accounting from
I didn't know that.
Pace University.
Okay,
That
I
was
didn't know that.
And I thought I was going to be one of those bean counter people, but I did that for a while at a college, but then I just couldn't. It was more than the numbers for me. And I just migrated into human resources after that, which is kind of where we met.
Yep, that's right. But so at the business school, we have. I'll talk a little bit about a new major two new majors. One brand new, which is our entrepreneurship major.
Yay.
So so that's really exciting.
My son is excited. He's
That's
12,
great.
but that's what he's talking about. He wants to go to school for.
Yep. So what we like about that is that it teaches students like the whole business cycle from how you start it up and how you run it and how you finance it and all those pieces.
That's great.
And so it doesn't mean that when you're an entrepreneurship major that when you graduate you have to start your own business, but it means you kind of understand how a business works. You have the tools, the new toolkit and training to do that, but you also are ready to go in and work in a business and add value in that way. So we're really proud of that. And we also started a business analytics major a couple of years ago. And, that's big data, data analytics, business analytics, really big stuff. I mean, that career as kind of where it's going, I mean, is huge.
Is where it's at.
Yeah, it's really kind of where it's at. So those are our two newest and ones that we're excited about. But, we're putting a lot into our accounting program right now. Accounting enrollments, this is interesting since you're an accountant. Accounting enrollments are down nationwide.
Really?
Yes. So, so now we're working to try to figure out how we kind of beat that trend and how we start to, looking at kind of revising our accounting curriculum, looking at starting a Master of Science in Accounting for people who it didn't occur to them that they should have gone to school for accounting.
Yeah.
Maybe they were a marketing major or some other type of business major, could come back and do a Master of Science and be ready to sit for the CPA exam. So,
Do they still offer, and you may or may not know this, but like one of the reasons, my godfather is an accountant, and that was one of the reasons why I kind of sparked my interest. But I took an accounting class in high school, and that's where I fell in love with it. Shout out to Mrs. Hoffman, my accounting teacher. And I actually ran into her. Yeah, I ran into her like 20 years later. She's a big golfer, so it's like total. I'm not a golfer, but total. Checks the box for CPA, and but anyway, she really inspired me to go down that path. But do they still offer that in high school as like a course, accounting?
We have students that come in. I think they do, and some of the schools, I think a little bit more downstate, will offer kind of university and the high school options so that students can take that in high school and then it transfers in as financial accounting into our program.
Okay, because I know, and my daughter's a sophomore in high school, and so I always find, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I feel it's really hard. When you think about it, I mean, there literally is a job for everything. Sure. I mean, everything. These microphones are a job.
Right.
And there's so many jobs that go along with this. The engineering of
Lateral,
everything. And I find with her, like, how do I let her know all these options? That are out there. Like I took a survey in high school. They told me I should be a bus driver. And my dad still laughs about that. I couldn't parallel park my Honda.
That's hilarious.
So
is there an answer for that?
Yeah, like
Chris?
what do they do for
I think I'm not sure what they're doing in high school.
High school question.
Yeah. But no, students. That's one of the reasons why we get so many undeclared majors. They come in and they have no idea, or they think they pick a thing that they heard of that they're pretty sure would be for them, and then they take 2 classes in it, and they're like, oh my God, not for me.
That happens with accounting a lot.
So, and it does. So what we do is try to make sure that in their first year, students take a wide variety of general education classes, which is one of the values of taking gen ed classes because it gives you like something in all different areas. And then you find out for business majors, what we do is have them take a course called career and internship practicum that exposes them to they have to network, they have to go to events, they have to do a LinkedIn, they have to do their resume, they have to apply for things, and that gets them a little bit more knowledge about what's available.
That's good.
But it takes a long time to find out what there is. You really don't know.
Yeah, it is.
That's true.
That's maybe a future guest from the high school that we can explore a little bit.
Maybe a guidance counselor or something we could get on. That would be really nice. Yeah.
Can we talk about the MBA program, the Masters of Business Administration?
Sure.
Because I think I was around when that thing was hatched.
Yeah. So it was hatched. It was hatched, and it was a fledgling, and now it's like a grown-up.
Yeah, I know that. That means I'm old.
Yeah,
we know that.
So the MBA program is it's a 36 credit program, 36 to 45 credits depending on what your undergraduate was, and it prepares people either that had a business background or didn't to understand kind of each discipline of business and be able to go out and and conduct business, get a job, get a promotion. And we have our program, which we're really proud of, is a flexible design. So you can take it online, you could take it seated, you could take a couple classes seated, some online.
That's great.
Some hybrid, some on Saturdays. So we've got
that's great.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
Kind of jump in there and figure out the best way for them.
Yep, that's right. And I think what's special about ours that really has enabled us to expand it and sell it is that we have a lot of individualized advising and personalized help.
Yeah, so one-on-one
we kind of
stuff.
we don't kind of just say like look on the website and good luck. We walk you through like every step and call you when you didn't finish your application. Kind of keep going. So so it's a great option, and there's another track in that for public accountants so that they get their additional accounting credits and get 150 credits so that they can sit for the CPA.
Nice, very good.
Yeah.
Do you still have the advisory council?
Business Advisory Council. Yep. Okay, it's always good to have some ideas of who should be on it. So our Business Advisory Council is a group of people from the region or who are alums or just, kind of have some connection to the college and give us just insight on, and we say, we're going to do this big program and, we're going to start this new major. And then we have people that say like, oh, well, that's a nice idea, but maybe it would be better if you did this or that. Or just, and mainly one of their roles is to work with students and work with clubs and come in and just kind of, give them that career, the real life career insight. Yeah.
It's perfect for you. I know you're on a million things, but this is up your alley. Let's talk about Venture Fest.
Venture Fest. So, all right, so let me just tell you, let me go back one step. Yeah. So 3 years ago, we started an entity called the Hudson Valley Venture Hub, which is an entrepreneurship kind of platform in place for people from the entrepreneurial community in the Hudson Valley to come together. So what that means is, in real life, I know, it's like, what is
layman's
that?
terms here.
Okay, layman's terms, There's entrepreneurs and incubators and accelerators and investors and people all up and down the Hudson Valley.
Is our friend Tony DeMarco involved in
Tony
this?
DeMarco is the man.
He was our guest last 2 weeks ago.
Yes, he's the executive director of the Venture
Right.
Hub. And so what we recognized was that there was no point of connection for these people, and so it was kind of a market opportunity, I have to say. So we were like, well, it would be New Paltz, so we'll kind of bring you together. We have events. We have we started a membership program so that people can join this and just be connected. We get a lot of phone calls when people, kind of think, God, I need to do this thing with my business. Who could help me? Oh, there's a business school. And they call, and then I'm kind of like, I don't really know what I could, where do I direct you? So now this is a thing where we can direct them to events, to programs, and so on that we have. So annually, except for during COVID, annually we have a big event called Venture Fest, and it's on October 13th at SUNY New Paltz. And it is a multi-component event. And it starts off with one of the things that I want to highlight. Our keynote address is going to be given by Michael Schumann, who wrote a book called Put Your Money Where Your Life Is, How to Invest Locally Using Self-Directed IRAs and Solo 401ks. So he'll give a talk about that, and then he's going to moderate a panel about how to invest locally in the Hudson Valley. So I think that will be a really nice kind of kickoff for the event.
Is there a cost to participate?
$25.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it just helps us cover our, the cost of food. It's really a good
deal.
deal.
It's a great deal.
Full day event. And then we'll have an entrepreneur, like in different time segments in the sessions, session 1, 2, and 3, we'll have an entrepreneur track, entrepreneurs helping each other, where it's just sort of like a mingle. We're having a talk about the Hudson Valley Startup Fund and their next round of investment they're going to do. An opportunity for people who serve entrepreneurs to come together and kind of talk about what they're doing and meet entrepreneurs. So that would be like CPAs or that type of thing.
I want to come to this. What time does it start?
It starts at 12 on the 13th.
Perfect. I get my beauty sleep in, and I'm
send you the link. And then we'll have, I think, one of the really cool things that we're doing with it this year. Last time we did it, we also had a pitch fest, but this time the pitch fest is focused on minority and women business entrepreneurs. So, so we have people wrote in, sent us applications to get to pitch at this, and we'll have a pitch competition, and there's prize money for them.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the prize money is supported by one of the people who has underwritten the Hudson Valley Venture Hub is Kenny Pasternak, who's been involved. Kenny's been involved in a bunch of things in the Hudson Valley.
I haven't heard that name in a while. He's up in the Margaretville area.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And he's been a huge benefactor of ours.
He's an amazing guy.
He's a really good guy. And then the day concludes with Oktoberfest networking and food and music. You cannot go wrong.
Beverages there?
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. Maybe Oktoberfest, like seltzer.
Like cranberry.
So it goes from 12 to 4?
12 to 6.
12 to 6, okay, fine. And then, so people can find it online by just searching?
They can find it, go to SUNY New Paltz, and in the little search box, just put Venture Fest, or so that I could tell you this before I came on, I tried putting New Paltz Venture Fest in Google, the great Google machine, and poof. There was.
Yes,
there
it's
was.
happening.
Okay,
So you can fact check it.
Google it.
That's right.
Or somebody said noodle it.
You're right.
Noodle it.
Noodle it. So, Kristin Backhaus, thank you. I mean, we have some time. We have like 10 minutes, but I want people to know you're the dean of the School of Business at SUNY New Paltz, and have been doing a great job there since 2014
That's
and
right.
prior.
Yep.
And you're active in the community. Did I get you on boards? I think I got you on a board.
You got me on that.
Yes, you do a lot of that.
That's what he does.
I
Ulster Chamber Regional Chamber Foundation Board.
Yep.
Still on it,
Great.
Tony.
I know, thank you.
As
I
you said
appreciate
so.
that. I know. No, I'm a recruiter.
And
That's what I
it's
do.
great, and that's a great organization too.
It is.
That sponsors the Ulster Leadership Development
Yes,
Institute
yes.
and the Youth Leadership
It's a big
Development
deal.
Institute. Really good stuff.
It's a big deal. And isn't that what we're supposed to do, is give back to the community, share our expertise, make this a better place, help our neighbors. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right? What else are we here for?
And it's really fun.
And it's really fun.
It is. You
It's
get
a
to
lot
meet
of
great
fun.
people.
I have a very random, every time I think of SUNY New Paltz, I think, and this is to the Tempassus family if they're listening, Dallas Hot Wieners.
Dallas Hot Wieners.
Would do wonders for SUNY New Paltz. I mean, can you imagine being in college town and being able to
hot
go
dog.
eat for like $4? I mean, that's what it costs for me for, you
Right.
know, probably
A dog and
20-year-old man. It
Right.
probably wouldn't be that much
No.
because they eat a lot more hot dogs than I do, but...
So you're saying use them as a business study, as a case study?
No, I'm saying they should open a restaurant out there. They would clean house.
They really would.
Right?
You're right.
It's
You are right.
quick, it's cheap.
Right.
This is entrepreneurship. See, this is the stuff.
Yeah,
we teach.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
put that in the-
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's excellent. Yeah, because college food historically has not been the best, right? Typically, I mean, it's been
Kinda
okay.
better
Has it
than
gotten
used to
better?
be. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now when students complain about the food, I'm like, really? This?
Yeah,
You're
really?
complaining?
Yeah,
This is actually pretty good.
5-star culinary home or something. Yeah, somebody's
Yeah.
cooking all the time. So what do you do for recreation? Just you as
I like to hike.
a person.
I like to hike. I spend a lot of time on weekends in Mohonk Preserve,
Oh, nice.
Minnewaska, those kind of areas, hiking, getting outside.
So beautiful there.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, like to travel.
Yeah.
That's been a little bit of a problem.
It's a
traveling
big
is a
problem,
big
right?
issue. Yeah. So
Yeah.
School is back in session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask
full-fledged.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's going
you bring-
really well. Going
Good.
very, very well. So, just so that people could be safe, we have a mask mandate and all by directive of the SUNY chancellor, all students at SUNY schools have to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated by September 27th if they're taking classes on campus.
Okay.
So, so they've got a little less than a week,
Yeah.
and we're right down to it. There's only a very, very small percentage left that we're chasing down.
Okay.
So they got it, they did it. So that's going great.
Good.
And
So you offer that on campus?
there
Or
was
they-
the opportunity to get vaccinated
some
on
point.
campus at one point, and
now they got to.
yeah, I think we're probably doing one more.
I mean, you
Johnson
can go to
and Johnson.
Hannaford. I got my
Yeah,
vaccination
you
at
can go anywhere.
Hannaford.
You can go anywhere.
Like,
Shopping.
Get a rotisserie chicken and a
And
shot.
then, right, exactly. Just carry that right under your arm and
Yeah,
say,
it's gonna hurt you.
put
Carry
it
under
in
the
your
arm,
other
the
arm.
other arm. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
that's-
so they're doing really well. We have surveillance testing just so that we can make sure that we don't have like a lot of pop-up cases. And
Sure.
we had a few cases. I think we're down to like 12 active cases right now. So
Yeah.
it's really good, really good. And and we have strong enrollment. So and you can tell from the students their energy is so high.
Oh, I bet
Yeah,
they're
They are
yeah,
so
yeah.
happy to
excited
be
and
back.
happy. Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah.
happy to be
Yeah.
back.
Now, did you find, are you offering like an online option for students that
No.
didn't want to come back? Okay.
Nope. Nope. I mean,
Okay.
we have some online classes just because we
Yeah.
have some online classes.
maybe had those before.
We had them
Business as
before, and we
usual.
have
Yeah.
quite a few in the business school, just because that's kind of the demands from our
Yeah.
student population. But no, we went back to pre-COVID
That's
times,
good.
and because that's what the market was demanding. That's
Yeah.
what students wanted,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what their parents wanted, and it's going well. It's going really well.
Has anyone done, is there an article that you've seen on why Zoom was so successful versus the other platforms because they were kind of like nowhere on the radar screen. Mostly it was
Who was
Skype.
nowhere?
Zoom, the Zoom platform. I mean, that just
They came- and,
overtook
I mean,
the market.
and they were overwhelmed as a company and
they're
trying
right-
to be able
exactly.
to respond to that demand.
Yeah, that would be a very cool case study at some point. Was it the right place at the right time? Although, Microsoft Teams, there are still
Zoom was just easier to use.
And so they've just dominated the market. During the pandemic, it was, and still today. Zoom.
They bought a private, the owners of that company bought a private island somewhere. They
Oh
had a good
man,
year and a half.
but really, is that just kind of like right place at the right time?
Yeah.
Did they ever imagine that or did it come out of the pandemic as did it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that a lot that businesses were using it, but then the demand from everyday
Not to
people,
that extent.
it just took off.
I don't
like
know if you guys
crazy.
had family Zoom like Thanksgivings
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
which
everybody did
like
that,
the
yeah.
like the ultra awkward trying to explain to people how. Okay, the camera's not aimed at your face. It's oh,
Still to this day,
not
you're
aimed at
on
your face right
mute.
now.
Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. We just had a Zoom with some friends up in Canada and through Rotary, and we wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
Right.
And
Right.
so
No, it got us through for sure.
Yeah, it did. It did.
And I did say on the one show, I mean, can you imagine
Yeah.
if this pandemic happened 30 years ago?
Oh, my God.
I mean,
Oh, forget
I
it.
can't. No, I can't.
The technology that we have now.
Yeah. Well, it might have been easier, quite honestly.
Been nicer.
Nicer.
Life really would have shut down.
Well, it would have
Yeah,
shut
Just from
down.
a school
Yes.
standpoint, think
It would
about
have shut down.
Just from an everything standpoint, it would have,
hunker down.
Yeah, you just hunker down. Like they did in 1918 for the
That's right.
Spanish influenza, that whole thing. So thank you for coming on.
you.
Please come back,
Okay.
if you have something that, is going on or some kind of a
Or if
big
I just
deal.
wanna hang out with you
If you
guys.
guys just want to hang out, which is, absolutely. We're fun.
We're
you are
we can
fun.
be
We're
fun.
fun accounting people.
We're fun bean counters. Yes, we are. Yeah, so, keep in touch.
I
I'm
will
going to
do.
try to get to Venture Fest,
Good.
at least partially.
October 13th, SUNY New
Yeah.
Paltz.
I think that sounds like a great thing to do and be part of. So,
Thank you.
Kristin Backhaus, thank you so much for
Thank
all
you.
you do.
Thanks very
and
much.
good luck in the school year coming up. I know it's going to be a great one, right?
It will be. Thank you.
So we'll talk soon. All right, Lawrence, so what else? The Giants play this Sunday?
They suck. I don't want to talk about them.
Okay, let's
If
not.
they don't win this weekend,
Let's talk about this.
I'm
Yeah,
selling
they're
the rest
not-
of my season
No,
tickets.
let's talk about quickly November 4th, which is our Happy Christmas Fund fundraiser coming up.
Boyce's Dairy.
It's going to be at Boyce's Dairy starting at 7 o'clock, like a normal
Yeah, I've been
Thursday
stuffing
show.
envelopes all morning.
Right, a normal Thursday show.
I got paper cuts all over my hands.
Big fundraiser. Our goal is 100,000. It's
I
a
wonder how
lot
many
of
ice
money.
cream sandwiches I'm going to eat that day.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, moon pies they have.
Not as much of the stuff that Sally makes. She makes chili.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? Crystal Palumbo brings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of food there.
Good.
Yeah, there's a ton of food there, and all the eggnog you can drink.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it.
good. And rum. We also have rum that you can.
That's
put
in the
things-
back though. That's
in the
not
back.
for the. That's after you do your bid.
Okay.
After your half-hour segment, you can do a
Depends on
shot
how
of
well
rum.
you do.
Yeah.
Please support the Happy Christmas Fund. It's been going on for 50. This is the 56th year, so that's been going on a while, and it only happens because KCR is on the air. So we're on this. And thanks to Pamela Broadcasting for doing the show that day for us from 7 to 5. Right? Is that?
Yeah, it's a long day.
It's a long
for
day.
me and you. It's
we're.
I'm exhausted at the end. I don't put it this way. I take Friday off now. Yeah.
I may just take a no-dose. Do they still have that?
Yeah,
No-dose?
I don't know. My mom
They don't work, dude. They don't work.
No
They
dose.
don't work.
They don't work.
Lots of coffee. Lots of
coffee. Yes.
Yeah. All right, folks. Listen. Be safe. Be
kind.
careful. Be kind. Do a random act of kindness for somebody, please.
Yeah.
Someone in back of you in line, cup of coffee, has a gallon of milk or something. Pay for that person.
Yeah.
You know.
It goes a long way.
If
Longer
you're
than you
if
think.
you're at a 5-star restaurant and you want to pick up somebody's meal, that's a whole different story. That's another random act of kindness.
That's a double act. That's a double act
random.
of
Or
kindness.
just smile and say hi.
Be
That
nice.
goes.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a good day.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend.